like and subscribe. What depiction of women in the media made you eye roll the hardest? Or the average Joe/overweight sitcom husbands with gorgeous supermodel wives? Usually when the male lead is also creator/ep, imagine that. Have you seen Kevin Kenneth *** himself? First season is out on AMC. It takes that awful fat slob with supermodel wife shtick and plays off of it. Dark comedy, interesting camera work, love the lead actress and her supporting actress. Basically every Adam Sandler movie. King of Queens in a nutshell. I'm hilarious and so nostalgic, but like, come on. Yep. It's the fact that the average male character has little to no redeeming qualities as well, so there's nothing to realistically attract such a beautiful wife, who is usually likable and or a good person. LOLLL pretty much everything Adam Sandler. I remember watching Friends, in the scene where Monica is berating Ross about his wedding to Emily. She says something to the effect of "You've been planning this for a month." Emily's probably been planning this her whole life. Ever since she first put a pillowcase on her head to be a veil. All any girl dreams of is having the perfect wedding blah blah blah. It's just like, not every girl puts her big beautiful wedding as top priority in life, you know? I hate that every female character in sitcoms has children during the course of the plot. Even the women who start out clearly child-free. A good example of this is Bernadette from Big Bang Theory, who ends up having 2 children. I like much better the story of Zyamara from Jane the Virgin, who gets pregnant unplanned, has an abortion, and doesn't regret her decision. And Penny D. Yeah. And then they did exactly the same thing with Penny to further reinforce the idea of you'll change your mind. Like what the hell? Yeah, I have to agree that I hate this in any show. That, and getting married, specifically to friends within your group. It completely detracts from the actual point of the show. When they feel like they have to marry off every female character before the end of a show. Even if it comes out of nowhere. Star Trek, Voyager did this with 7 of 9. 3 full seasons on the show and she never shows any romantic interest in any member of the crew. Then like 4 episodes from the end of the series they suddenly decide to get her and Chakotay together. Biggest disappointment of the series for me. That girl subverts this excellently, considering when it was made. The final episode is all about feminism and we never see her get married, even though she does get engaged. Fight scenes in towering high heels. Real broken ankles everywhere. The introducing big bad dinosaur scene, and how the only adult female character is completely dressed in white, but not a lab coat or safari, high heels, and not steel caps BC OSHA, and basically used to a vertical bar rug. Stuff like that, I totally agree with. This movie did it so ugh. Or when female characters that are fighting pretty regularly in a show, superhero roles, assassins, etc., and have long hair, but don't tie back their hair. I can't imagine how anyone that has long hair would leave it down when it could get in the way in those situations. And fights that involve chases and jumping off tall things. She's not like other girls, she's a badass who can jump from that 2nd story window onto concrete and stilettos onto one knee without breaking a single bone. That they're all really marriage and children hungry. Women who are overly ambitious. Misdirected man hunger. Let's throw a man into it to show her how her priorities are screwed up. Bam, she is now less ambitious, maybe quits her high-powered job on Wall Street to become a small-town librarian, so that she can marry that lumberjack she met on a weekend trip. This might be random, but I was so annoyed when I watched Amy Schumer's movie Trainwreck in 2015. I had got the impression it was going to be this semi-feminist movie. Around that time, Amy Schumer had this whole shtick about how women can be crude too. Which I was like, okay, I can get behind this attitude a little bit. Women should be able to make sex jokes and hook up with guys if they want to. But then I go and watch it, and the entire point of the movie is that her life is a mess because she won't commit to one guy. So the real problem is asterisk her sluttiness. And the end of the movie she gets her life together by marrying a man and agreeing to monogamy. What did you think of Mona Lisa's smile? I have always been conflicted about it. Lots of the women in the Big Bang Theory are chronically mistreated by their boyfriends and are just okay with it somehow. There was so much misogyny in that show. I hate that show with a passion. Pharaoh has a video on it which criticizes BBT, especially so for the insidious use of lamp shading. Brilliant term for a concept I knew existed, but cold know it quite explain. https://yao2b/x3hoigarxhs. I have rarely seen that show, but I watched one episode where that little pervy guy was saying pervy stuff to the main girl, and she told him off, and yelled at him for it. The rest of the episode was the cast being mad at her for being mean to him sulking because he was yelled at, and the main girl having to apologize after she saw the error of her ways. Basically, young girls watching, accept the nasty pervy comments that nerds say to you, because it is only bad when jock guys say it. The nerds be sad if you defend yourself, and we cannot have that. Holy. The time Howard was harassing Penny, and she told him to off and then wound up having to apologize to him. I hate that show with my entire being. The episode where Sheldon thinks he gets to hit Amy because she did something wrong is so appalling to me. Not only do they totally gloss over domestic violence, they turn it around and make it about her being horny and wanting to be spanked. I absolutely hate the way labor and childbirth scenes are depicted on TV, especially sitcoms. The Black, Latina, and Asian best friend/helper who is either super stereotypical or completely whitewashed with no proper characterizations, arc, motives, nuances, etc. You mean a blue streak in her hair isn't a replacement for a personality? Jennifer Hudson in the Sex and the City movie. Man, I feel this rage in my soul. Sassy black women who saved her. Fat woman characters whose entire storyline revolves around their weight. Can we as a society be done with this, and just let fat women exist? The first episode of This Is Us was so trope heavy I gave up on the entire series. Yep, and her being fat must always be the joke, i.e. Fat Monica in Friends, and she must always be hating/apologizing for her weight and always killing herself with dieting and exercise. God forbid a fatty just exist in her body. While I completely agree with you on Kate's character and storyline in This Is Us is a bit overplayed and focused on her weight issues, I was still glad to have a very plus-sized person to relate to in a primetime TV show. Most shows have your curvy plus-sized actress who is still a very healthy size. This was one of the first shows that had a much bigger actress who I could relate to more. In one scene in particular in one of the later seasons, Toby brings Kate along to a dinner with his friends and the waitress tries to seat them at a very narrow booth which Kate clearly cannot fit into. A lot of people don't realize how we have to deal with regular embarrassment over subtle things like that. Have you guys met Bollywood, Indian, movies? It's a little better now, but the whole plot of most movies was the girl says a clear no, the guy stalks, and has no respect of her choices. Then the girl falls in love with him. And then people wonder how the concept of consent got blurred. Oh yeah, old Bollywood films did this a ton. Even non-Hindi movies, like the ones from South India, had this horrible trope of the hero just not respecting boundaries. And a lot of times, when the villain captured the girl, there would be a scene just before the hero swoops in where the villain is trying to undress the female, throw her on bed, etc. I think the industry had changed a lot though, especially now that people are becoming so aware of the number of sexual assault cases. Girl I work with was telling me how she accidentally smiled at a guy while she was in India and he followed her for hours, and she had to fake she had a girlfriend with a girl that was with her for him to go away. Almost every anime ever I can count series with decent female characters on one hand. Came to say this. It is so off-putting to me that I cannot even watch 90% of anime specifically for the portrayal of women. I just cannot relate to them. Cribby. The whining just grates on me and makes me cringe like nothing else. Then somehow, I feel almost vertical bar gaslit for being the only one in the room that finds it obnoxious and unwatchable. Like how are you guys not only okay with, but enjoying this? when they make every woman act like a breakup is the end of the world. Emo and experienced men take breakups much worse than women. Obviously not the case for everyone. Just once I want to see a movie where Kelly dumps Chad, and there's a flash forward to a week later, where she's dancing and singing with friends and clearly enjoying her single life, while Chad is crying at her Insta stories and whining about how she could have been the one. And then he does not stalk her to try and win her back. When a quirky girl has to grow up because her single status, free spirit, love of animals, biking and art and desire to live each day to the fullest does not vibe with our capitalist society. She must find a man, get a job, but not a serious job. Something cute and dainty, like making cupcakes or selling shoes. And settle down. At first, quirky resists on perfectly valid points. I do what I love. I don't need a man to be happy. I hate working in offices. But then, Moneybags comes along and tells her all of this is wrong, that she will end up old, ugly and eaten by cats if she continues down this path. Quirky giggles at him and tells him he's wrong, but then she sees a female friend with a baby or attends a wedding and becomes oddly wistful. Could she be missing out after all? Moneybags tries to get Quirky a real job without her knowledge or permission. She confronts him, and instead of apologizing for trying to control her life, he scolds her for wanting to live the way she does because, again, the only future that awaits is being eaten by cats. Cut to 2 weeks later, and Quirky is tearfully moving out of her humongous studio apartment that she could somehow afford with practically no income, moving back in with a family member who's been telling her to grow up for years, and taking a job with health insurance and a 401k. Because she's decided to start her own business, or move to another state and needs to start saving up. No. Because she's decided. Moneybags is right, she's not a real woman, unless she conforms to society's rigid rules and settles down. Moneybags somehow gets wind of her miraculous turnaround. They make up, and the last scene is a perfectly traditional white wedding. The end. Moral: don't be a quirky girl or you might get eaten by cats. The one where you see a character vomit once, and the viewer can only assume she is pregnant. I have vomited a bit in my life, and it's never been a pregnancy. Lol. Anytime I felt nauseated at work, my coworkers are like, oh. Nauseous? Nudging me with a wink, insinuating I might be pregnant. I'm like, I don't have a uterus, yeah freaks. Women get nauseated by things other than impregnation. Sheesh. She couldn't be hungover, or have food poisoning. No. It has to be 2 days after having sex with the uninteresting main guy and suddenly experiencing morning sickness. Depictions of Walker's racist stereotypes, submissive/quietation, loud/spicy Latina, etc. Also, as a child-free woman, cannot stand when a female character's sole purpose in the story is having a child. Right? If you wanna see a good series that doesn't show Asian women as submissive, watch Never Have I Ever on Netflix. The main character Devi even has a conversation with her cousin Kamala on how Asian women are expected to be submissive because of our culture, and neither of them take that. It's such a cool series, and it's honestly great to see my own race represented as something that isn't a stereotype. Lol. The whole thing with Black Widow in Avengers 2. She was a child assassin haunted by the innocent she killed, but no, the thing that really makes her relate to Bruce Banner becoming a monster is that she can't get pregnant. The implication that infertility is monstrous, that all women must want kids, when that was never a part of her character or fake, that adoption is inferior to having bio kids. Horrible all around. In Brooklyn 99, I couldn't stand the whole baby plotline between Jake and Amy. They wrote Amy as a character who pressured Jake, who didn't want kids, into having a kid by saying that she would leave him. It was also really unbelievable for her character to have never brought this subject up to him before. She's typically neurotic and plans everything to a T. The whole plotline just reinforced a stereotype about women and this urge to breed. It's just not true. Plenty of us married, cishet ladies have zero interest in having kids. I stopped watching Brooklyn 99 after that, because that whole thing turned Amy from one of my favorite characters, my ultimate favorite was Holt, to a character that I didn't like anymore. Whenever I saw her in any scene after that, I was annoyed by her. For once, I would like to see a happily married straight couple be child-free by choice. No drama, no threatening to divorce, no indecisiveness, no inability to have kids by some stroke of bad luck. We exist. Came here to say this. I absolutely hated that episode. It was such awful writing and such a time message. I've never felt the same about the show since. Them having a kid was definitely the definitive jumping the shark moment for Brooklyn 99. I still cringe when I think of the Sex and the City movie where Carrie and Big meet another couple at a wedding and the wife is genuinely confused, and even a bit troubled, that Carrie and Big did not want children. The vast majority of people I tell I don't want kids are understanding and don't try to pressure me into making the same decision they did. I kinda liked where it was going. I was expecting some sort of a conflict between the two. Especially when Jake clearly stated he does not want a kid, or I not ready, but Amy kept on pushing him. It could have explored this interesting dynamic where one partner wants kids and other does not, showing that it usually does not work out in the end. And then Jake changed his mind in a minute. I was really disgusted by that episode. I think that was the point where I stopped loving the show. They totally betrayed Amaya's character, and they made Jake a spineless moron. Same. I couldn't watch Brooklyn 99 anymore after that. There were already lots of characters with kids in the show. Terry was a devoted dad, as was Boyle. Jenna had a baby. Jake and Amy becoming parents was just a boring, stereotypical trope and I expected better from B99. That idiot from the kissing booth that tells the girl that she was asking for it cause of what she was wearing. Even as a guy I was Ed off he got the girl. What the? I actually just watched all of those when the third came out. Pretty sure he stopped himself as he was saying it and realized how crazy it was. When the girl is supposed to be ugly, so she wears glasses and have braces. This always makes me laugh, because growing up I really wanted glasses and braces. All my friends had braces or glasses, and I thought they were such cool accessories. I eventually did need glasses, and was so happy I could fit in, and show off the ones I picked. And thick brows. Something that always bugs me is the way teenage girls are portrayed as this sexually confident and aggressive femme fatale types. I don't know about you, but I sure as was not that at 15. Like, I was awkward and uncomfortable and shy as. But all the teenage girls on TV and in movies act like they're 25. It's this weird aging up thing that really plays into the whole young girls are more mature trope that is super ed up and is often used to justify abusive and inappropriate relationships. Every rom-com that has a hard-working woman is not complete without a man and a family. Seriously. I hate those. Just let her live. If she wants it then fine, but do not make it the plot of everyone in her life trying to set her up. Especially when she has to choose. The ones whose sole focus in life is A. Getting a man, B. Keeping a man, and C. Trying desperately to get pregnant. When a problem presents, and a woman looks at the male lead with big eyes, and goes *WHATNOW***, as if women don't have problem solving skills, or must rely on men to take care of them in the face of adversity. Woman fainting at the sight of blood. Like, she can bleed for a week every month, and change bloody pads/tampons/clothes/bedding with her own blood on it, but will faint at the sight of non-period blood. Really? This one for sure. I never understood it either. The gorgeous model hot capable woman who for some reason settles for the passive, dopey, nerdy misogynistic passive aggressive dude who views her as the prize, to be won, rather than a real person. God forbid she prefer a hot guy, rather than the one who puts her on a pedestal. Fade in. Exterior. Unnamed city. Day. The hustle and bustle is a symphony of progress. We pan past windows, each of which contain a different story, to find Jassy Lackins, 28, hot, but doesn't know it. Jassy stops when her high heel gets caught in the grating of a sewer. Suddenly a man steps into frame and points a gun at her. This is not her day. Fade to black. Title: 3 weeks earlier. Blaine, maybe I don't need a new friend. Jassy, maybe you're the only friend I need. Blaine, need or want? Jassy, I've never been much for wanting. Blaine, spoken like someone with needs. Jassy reaches out and touches his face. It's clear. He needs what she wants. She's a woman. He's a man. The city burns in the background as he takes her in his arms. Fade out. Title: The End. You like that? You want me to cut to 3 weeks earlier, when you were alive? This should not be so accurate, P. This is exactly what I hate about action films. The over-attentive wife, who is almost always portrayed as having an interesting career and personality yet serves only to fawn over her husband/kid, and develop their own characters. Useless women who are only added as love interests. Happens in most Bond movies. Indiana Jones also has some tie depictions of women. Most video games too. The Witcher series stand out to me the most. So many examples to pick from. Did you find that Yen and Triss were both like that in The Witcher, or just Triss? Triss was just a love interest, but Yen was an actual badass. I actually love the depiction of Yen in The Witcher, and I think the author of the books purposely wrote her as a non-stereotypical female as found in most fantasy. 2 women in a relationship equals super butch lesbian plus ultra girly lesbian. When a woman's period is late in media, she immediately panics and says, *I'*N never late, never. And like. Yes, some hormonal birth controls get you on a regular schedule, but not every woman uses them. Not every woman gets her period on the exact same day every month. I know it's for the drama/tension of the storyline, but to me, it shows a lack of experience or research. IKR. I have never had a regular period in my 10 years of having them. Madison Page in Heavy Rain. Completely pointless to include in the story except for the purpose of showing off her. And then all the typical I was raised by boys so I'm different, but then at the same time, being absolutely useless in every fight scene she's in. When women are useless in fight scenes it infuriates me more than I can express. I agree with you on this. Unpopular opinion, but action movies like Atomic Blonde. I don't care how skilled you are, a 100-pound woman cannot overpower multiple 200-pound men that easily. Also while doing it in high heels. It's as bad/unrealistic as John Wick 3 in my books. The rosy fake it's so amazing portrayal of pregnancy and childbirth. My theory is, if it was more realistically depicted less women would be okay with doing it. That they're all man hungry/want to settle down/want to get married/have kids. Not every woman inspires to have a partner her whole life, and not every woman wants kids. That, or the show will have a woman who is against marriage and children then suddenly change her tone seasons on because she meets the one guy who changes her. Jurassic World where the lady goes through the I'm jungle in heels and low-cut tank top. I know she worked inside, but still. Bring back Og Jurassic Park where they dressed for being in the jungle. That we all spend hours on makeup. Ugh, this one. I'm the type of female who loves makeup, and will put in hours to do it, if I have the energy and time for it. But the fact that people make it out like *EVERY* girl is the same really s me off. Like not every woman likes makeup or wants to wear it and that's okay. She's gotta have it Spike Lee. If you watched, you know how Spike Lee embarrassingly directed a series about hypersexualizing women. Women detectives who put themselves in harm's way, then are saved by a man at the last second. The badass superhero spy chick who lets her hair fly around instead of just pulling it back or braiding it. You've been visited by the ghost of a very important man. Pay your respects by liking and subscribing, and he'll grant you 3 weeks of good luck.